phone up here so I have the time. I'm not doing anything. Okay, cool. Okay. Cool. Okay, anything else? All right, let's get started. Okay, so we've been networking all of our lives. We come here and we network. How many of you are business owners? And how many of you are in business? Okay, you know what I mean, right? Okay, so let's start with, you come to a meeting like this, a chamber meeting. You might go to a family reunion. That's a networking opportunity as well. You might go to a service organization group, perhaps a Rotary, or another lunch and learn or something like that. And you walk into the room. Before you walk into the room, what should you do? What should you have prepared? I'll give you a hint. Ourselves. The most important thing before you do anything is to be mentally prepared. Now, you may not have your script in your mind. Some people like to, go off the cuff. Other people need to be very prepared. Very prepared. If they're not prepared, they may not even go at all. Because here's the thing, we all have different behavioral styles. We all have different communication styles, and they're all right. They have to be right for us. The most important thing is to be authentic, and we need to be prepared. So before you go in, you have to first be comfortable with you, who you are. And this may not be your comfort zone. I'm going to tell you, this room right here, I'm guessing that at least half of you are not super comfortable right now, and that's okay. I applaud you for stepping out of your comfort zone. But one of the things that I like to think about, and how many of you know the author and speaker Bob Berg? Yes. Run out and buy his book, The Go-Giver. And one of the things that he said, I was at one of his events, and he said, and this was when I was very timid, didn't know how to get out of my own way, and he said, you don't have to step out of your comfort zone. You can just stretch it a little. And when you stretch it a little, each time, you stretch it a little bit more, and a little bit more, suddenly that comfort zone is much larger. Much larger. And then, your comfort zone is still within the room. Does that make sense? I love that idea, because you know what? Nobody's going to make me get out of my comfort zone. I like it here. Lots of people like their comfort zone. We like our box. It's comfortable. And so, but if we just stretch it a little bit. So, perhaps you're getting ready for an event like this, and you're stretching your comfort zone. You need to be mentally prepared, and part of that is comfortable with you. So, it's important to know, how are you going to talk about yourself if somebody introduces you? How are you going to introduce yourself? Do you look the part? Are you comfortable with your appearance? Do you have a smile on your face? One of the most important things when you're walking into a room is to have a smile on your face. Because how many times have you seen a person come in and people are nervous? And so they walk into our room and they're like, and they go and they find their spot and then they're done, right? And they sit down and they're comfortable. If you have a smile on your face, people want to come and talk to you. It's like an open door to being polite, to being nice, to being encouraging someone to come and talk to you. So that's the very first thing, smile. Next, you want to have your business cards. And typically you want to have business cards in one pocket or the other. You don't want to pull out business cards and give someone else's. So, if you can prepare to have your business cards in one pocket, wherever you may keep them, and someone else's, the ones that you collect, put those in a different pocket. It's not a big deal, but it makes you look like you're on top of things. If you pull out somebody else's card, oh, sorry. Not super professional. So, we want to have a system for that, and it's a small system, but it does make you look better. And that's the point of the networking. You want to look good. You want to look your best. So, you're dressed for success, and it doesn't matter what you do, what your industry is. You want to dress above what everybody else is doing. If you're a painter and you come in your paint-filled clothes, it's not going to be as professional if you come in with some tidy khakis and a golf shirt. Does that make sense? If I'm going to choose between two of those painters, I'm going to pick the one who dresses nicer. And the reason is, I want to be able to refer him to the other people that I know. If he's tidy with himself, he will be tidy with my home. Right? So, that is the parts of what you want to be prepared. You also want to know what you're going to say. And so when someone comes up to you, who asked that question? That 30 to second question, 10, okay? Now this is a touchy thing, because if somebody comes up to you, and Jesse, what do you do?
I sell cars.
Okay, all right, so I can help car salesmen, okay? Salespeople sometimes. Totally. Anyway, okay, so I have some clients who sell cars. Now, if I were to come up and say, hi Jesse, my name is Tara, I do coaching and I help people network and get more referrals, and I would love to talk with you, maybe we could have coffee sometime. Yeah, right? Holy heck. Back off. Networking is not about selling. Never. It's never about selling. It is always about the other person. And so when you go into a room, for example today, how many of you have a product that you would like to sell? And you may have even came prepared with a few things in your pocket that you could flip out at a moment's notice and share more about your business, right? We do it, okay? How many of you today came here to buy something? Do you see my point? People come to events to get to know others, not to buy. And so networking is never, ever, ever about selling. It is all about building relationships. And when you have those relationships, then people know who to go to when they need your product or service. We do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And if I'm going to come in here and talk to you guys and say, oh my gosh, I drove 2 hours and I'm so excited to be here, and oh, I can help you. Gross. And in fact, you might go and write a bad review about me. You might tell Christy, what the heck were you thinking? She's horrible. But that is not my goal. And I know that the people who are successful in networking are the ones who are looking to help others, the ones who are looking to connect. And the more we help others, the more we have trust. And that's when people want to help us. Does that make sense? So what you do want to do is you want to prepare something about yourself, but then you want to turn it back to that other person. My name is Tara Schmakel. I'm the Timid networker. I help people network more effectively. What do you do? That's much more engaging, and it takes the pressure off, and suddenly that other person is a lot more comfortable. How many of you have gone to an event and you had somebody talk your ear off about their business, and you really had no intention of ever, you don't even need their service? Have you ever had that happen? One of the very first chamber events that I went to, there was a guy who came up to me, and I was doing some networking or whatever. He came up and he's like, hi, I do, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, it's very nice to meet you. Do you have a card? And he said, yes, in fact, let me go get you my brochure. I said, oh, okay. So I thought, whatever. And I went and talked to some other people. And then he came over and, like, no kidding, grabbed me and said, so, here's the thing. And by the way, I wanted to share with you that we have a special one. And he opened up his stuff and spread it all out. Spread it out. And I was like, oh, my. And suddenly the event was about to start. And then he kept talking, kept talking, kept talking. And I never got to visit with anybody else. The event was over. I listened. It was great. And there was all kinds of other cool things that happened at the event. After the meeting, he came over again and said, so, did you have any more? And maybe we could have coffee. Do you think I wanted to have coffee with him? Absolutely not. In fact, I don't even remember what he did or his name, because I was so like, oh my goodness. So here's the other thing to this. We need to be aware of others when we go into the room, because there are different ways that people network. First of all, men and women network differently. It's a fact. So we need to be aware of that. Women are very much into the social aspect of it, and they want to talk and get to know each other. And this is not typical, I'm not going to say stereotypes, but for the most part, women like to build those relationships. Men want to talk about what's going on, they want to talk about, the scores and all of that kind of thing. It's completely different. So if you are a woman who is in a man's business, learn how to talk that way. If you are a man who works with women, learn how to communicate that way. It's very important to be able to communicate with others the way they want to be communicated with. It doesn't matter how we communicate. It's it's important to adapt to the other person. Does that make sense? You can get lots more, never mind, I can't remember how the thing went. Anyway, something about bees and honey, and I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about? What is that thing, that line? Yeah, that's the one. Catch more bees with honey than vinegar. Okay, so the other thing is there are different behavioral styles. How many of you have taken a DISC assessment? Yeah, there are different behavioral styles, and people in those behavioral styles communicate differently. There is going to be the one person who wants you to get to the point. I don't want the details, just get to the point and tell me how you can make it happen. Right? How many of you are probably that way? Yeah, I know I do. There's the other kind of person who's all about, oh, this is going to be so fun, and who's going to be there? Oh, that'll be wonderful. Oh, and what else can we do? Let's have it be social, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to be, just really excited. Do you know that person? How many of you are that person, possibly? Okay? Yeah. Then there's the other people who are like, well, I'm not sure. They're going to move a little slower, and they're going to be very interested in how others are feeling. And they're going to be very interested in how the effects of the room, and how is this going to work. Are you all comfortable? Is it too hot? Can I get you something? Okay. How many of you fit into that category, perhaps? Okay. And then there's the other people who are very systematized. They want to make sure everything's okay, but they want the stats. They want to know the details. And then if you get talking to them, they're probably going to give you a lot of information about what they do and about what they know about. How many of you might be that person? Yeah, usually those people don't raise their hands. I will say I fit into 3 of those categories, and at the very top of the list. So, the thing is, each of those people talk differently and communicate differently. And it's important, again, to communicate with people the way they like to communicate with. The way they like to be communicated with. Okay? So, it's important. We've heard of the golden rule. This is the platinum rule. Treat others the way they want to be treated. Okay? So you go into the room, and you're talking to people, you've stretched your comfort zone, and you have that one person, you know them, and you don't remember their name. Okay? So here's what I'm going to tell you. Have a buddy when you go to a networking event. My husband and I do this, and I will tell him, I typically will remember names, he not so much. And I have other friends that this happens with as well. But what our deal is you go up to somebody, and Christy and I are at a networking event, and I say, oh, hi, and then Christy comes up and says, oh, have you, what's your name? Michelle. Have you met Michelle? And then she gives me the code. She already knows the name. I don't have to remember it. Oh, yeah, I'm Tara. It's nice to meet you again. It's nice to see you again, etc. Does that make sense, or did I waffle through that? If you have a partner who will have your back, you can always have something, I'm sorry I didn't get your name, and you can make sense of it that way. Does that make sense, or is that clear as mud? Okay, all right. The other thing that happens is you might be talking to somebody, and they have a lot of information to share. They're really excited to talk to you about all of their products and services, and their aunt grew up in Iowa, and they might know your aunt, and there's this. Do you know what I'm talking about? They just keep going and going, and you can't get away no matter what. Does that happen to you? Yeah. And so a very gracious way of escaping is to say, you know what, it's been really nice to talk to you. I see a person over here that I need to connect with. May I have your card? And then they say, oh yes, of course, and here's your card. Okay, here's the key. You have to walk like 3/4 of the room away. You may excuse yourself to go to the restroom or to go get another drink of water or something like that, but you know what? They might offer to come with you. It's happened. Oh yeah, I was going to get another snack too, and I keep talking, and you haven't gotten away from them. And so if you excuse yourself and go and talk to the other person that you had in mind that you were going to talk to, and it might be your friend, the one that has promised to have your back, you can make a gracious departure without ever making that person feel bad. You also have their business cards so you can remember their name and remember to go somewhere else next time. so that is a nice way to depart. The other thing that happens when you're in a networking event, perhaps it's a group like this, or maybe you're at a family reunion, or you're at a lunch and learn or something like that, is you may want to go talk to this other person. Somebody may want to talk to you. You may be on their radar for somebody that they'd like to have coffee with and get to know a little bit more about. So it's important to watch your feet. How many of you have know where I'm going with this? Good. Christy, would you mind being my partner here? If I'm in a conversation with Christy and we are standing here talking like this, doesn't it look like we're probably in a pretty intense conversation? Even if we're laughing, it's not very inviting for you to come in and talk to us, right? You might not know that Christy's kind of a big deal, and you want to come in and talk to her, and there's no way you're going to get in because we're too focused on each other. However, if you just step 1 foot out, suddenly you have this open floor, and people can come up, and you can see them approaching, and you can say, oh, hey, come and join us. Hello, Christy, I'd like for you to meet Michelle. Okay? All right, so it also works, thank you. It also works if you are in a large group. Have you ever been in a group and you're talking and it's pretty much a circle? Yeah, or 4 people? There's no way anybody's getting in there, even if they have the most important thing to say. So when you are in a group and you are talking, make sure you just step 1 foot out. Watch your feet. Make sure that you are including and opening it up to others who might want to approach you and talk to you. The other thing is if you see somebody coming, you can ask them, oh, come and join us, okay, and step out. It's very simple. Now, you can use that for the bad as well, and you can, lock somebody out, but that's not very nice. So, okay, have I covered everything? Body language. Okay. Not very approachable, right? Remember to keep your hands on your, it's natural, especially if we're nervous, we might cross our arms, okay? We have a little bit of the body language with the feet, but if you remember to keep your arms free, you will be much more approachable. The other thing I'm going to say this too, when you shake somebody's hand, it's another body language thing, right? There's a couple things. You want to make sure, first of all, your hands are dry. Dry them off if you need to. Some people keep tissues in their pockets, so you can do that. You don't want to squeeze a person's hand out. Okay? Gentlemen, we like to wear our rings. And if you squeeze our hands too hard, it really hurts. So please, However, women, do not, please, do this. You're not the queen. You're in business. Approach somebody with your hands straight up and down, no more than 3 pumps, please. And unless you are, really, really excited and you have a relationship with that person, don't grab both hands. That's usually something that is reserved for people that you already have a relationship with. Does that make sense? The other thing is you don't want to do that wet fish thing. Maybe it's just a limp fish, whatever it is. Firm handshakes, palm to palm, okay? Does that make sense? And then last, let's see, there's another body language thing. Oh, if you are a timid person, and maybe you have timid moments around networking, 2 things. If you are a person who has timid moments, make sure that when you come into a room, you get the lay of the land, but make sure you know where the exits are. It will help you feel at ease. If you are a person who's talking to somebody who you think might be having a timid moment, step away so that they can see the exit. It is a subconscious thing, but it is true. If I can see the way out, I'm not trapped. But if I'm feeling a little anxious and my hands are sweating and I can't, let me see the door. And you don't have to, please don't say, hey, can you see the door? Okay, that would be a little, So, the whole point of all of this, and I think I got everything, we didn't really talk about goal setting except for make sure that when you are going somewhere, you have a vision in mind, that you want to talk to 2 people, you want to walk away with 2 business cards, that you would potentially like to have coffee with that person and get to know them better. Start building that relationship. Comfort zone, we talked about that? Yeah, stretching it. Body language, we did that. We talked a little bit about our commercial, meaning we don't want to sell. We want to just share about ourselves and then ask about the other person. When to stop following up. I would say, if you're feeling like you think you're a stalker, say, you know what, if I don't hear back from you, I'll reach out to you in a year, or I'll reach out to you in, whatever. And and, you know, whatever. But be gracious about it. If you're feeling like it's uncomfortable, stop. Go with your gut, okay? And the newcomer, I say go and bring a buddy, or make it a goal again to talk to 2 people. It's 2. It's easy. It's a team. And so we've covered those. The important thing to remember is that the number one way that people are growing their business in this time is through networking. Whether you're networking in a group or face-to-face or online, and all of those count. My business, in fact, focuses on those 3 aspects of networking. When you have those 3 aspects of networking working in sync, you have a perfect platform to grow your business beyond anything that you can imagine. When you have that platform, you're covering all of your bases and all the different styles of people and the way that they communicate and the way that they network. Be good at all of them. You don't have to be like a rock star, because who is, right? We can always be learning, and my goodness, things are changing constantly. But be good at it and be consistent. When you're consistent, you gain trust. And when we do business with people that we know, like, and trust. If I can help you with anything else, please, you can connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or, you know, any of those things. Please check out my website, timidnetworker.com. I do have business cards, and I do have a drawing as well. I have an assessment that I do that is a Fascinate assessment, and what it does is it explains to you when you are in your zone, when you are in your groove, and you know that, you know the feeling, right? When you're just like, man, I'm banging on all cylinders. This test will tell you how people see you so that you can do that whenever you need to, and you can be the best you, providing the best value. So that is my drawing. If you would like to be put on my mailing list, please give me your card. The drawing will be from any of the cards that I get, but if you would like to be on my mailing list, just write mailing list on the back of your card, and I'd be happy to do that. So thank you very much for listening. I hope I answered all your questions and gave you some value. Thank you.